Hello and welcome to Points of Interest. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, along with my co-host, James, over here.
Hey, guys.
If you're new to the show, each week we collect video game news and stories from around the internet, bring them to you in a nice, concise little package. We do the show every Thursday, 10 a.m. Central Time. You can get the show on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher for the audio versions, and YouTube, VidMe, and Facebook for the video versions. Follow us on Twitter at IRGames. Stay up to date on the latest things we're doing, which is usually podcasts every Thursday at 10 a.m. We'll tweet out links.
That's right.
You can't miss it. You just follow us and subscribe, share with your friends, comment. Okay. You know, the normal thing.
That's good. That's good. And you just really good job.
Hey man, you kind of just you develop a flow and you start going. It's
fair.
like free verse when you're doing a rap battle, as the kids say.
I often do those, so I definitely connect with that sentiment.
There was no more white way you could have said that you rap battle.
It was pretty great, yeah.
It's pretty great. But speaking of pretty great, what have you been playing lately, James?
Well, I've slipped back into my video gaming ways. I finished the 100 this week, so I'm back into Destiny 2.
Yeah,
I wanted a little bit more epic screenshot this time.
Yeah, you did.
So I can go away from a week or two, and then like the moment I pick it up, it's just like it's all I want to do again. Like there's just something about that gunplay and just the progression and the different everything. Like sure, it's got its flaws. We all know that it's not perfect, but it's just awesome and it's fun, and I'm still having fun and have fun for a very long time with it. So I got to dip my toes in the raid for the first time this weekend, and my teammates mostly let me down, but it was still fun. I got to meet a bunch of new people.
Yep.
It's always interesting when a friend of yours like just vouches for you into a new group of people you've never met. They're all in their own clan, and I'm the outsider in this case. And
that's happened to us on multiple occasions.
Right.
And on multiple occasions, it's been awful.
Yeah, this one, they were all really fun. They were in a good mood, and they were good-ish at explaining stuff because I had gone in blind. And it was fun. We ran up into a situation where one of the people didn't feel comfortable like talking a bunch on her microphone, and she wasn't really doing very well, and so she felt like she was letting everybody down, and she was apparently the wife of somebody that was there.
We are now.
And so and so she left, and we had to find somebody else, and then one of the other guys had to leave like half an hour later. We kept getting like this close. We were in the gauntlet. You don't know what that means because you haven't watched the video yet, but if you play it, it's the first one. This last week is the first one. So you go into the center, you do the initial event, and then you go into the first section. The sections rotate. There's three main sections before the boss, and they rotate each week. So this week it starts with the gauntlet, and it's really cool. Ton of mechanics. I love it. It's difficult, but it takes teamwork, and we just didn't quite get there, but I still had fun. You know, it wasn't a waste of time for me. They talked a little bit about seasons in Destiny. They were at TwitchCon. They're going to be at Paris Games Week here next week. And just talked a little bit about kind of what's going forward. Season 1 still has a few more events, but the way that there are going to be 4 seasons a year, we don't have a subject on this later, so I wanted to just touch on it.
Summer, fall.
Yeah. I mean, you make jokes, but kind of sort of, yeah. So there are 4 seasons a year. It should be about every 3 months. So season 1's got another 5 or 6 weeks left in it. There'll be a new season. It starts right around winter, and that'll bring on
solstice.
Yeah, and that'll bring on the Dawning, which was an event that happened back before Rise of Iron. After Taken King, there was one of these mini events. We didn't do a whole lot in. So that's coming back. There's got new armor, new ghosts, new emotes, new skins, new sparrows, ships, guns, all that armor, all that good stuff. So they said that when they tweak like the sandbox and the gameplay and stuff, it's going to come like with the season. So they realized that the token system isn't the best for Iron Banner or for Faction Rally. So they're going to make changes to it. They're not going to make changes in the Season 1 versions. They're going to keep those the same. But when we go to Season 2, all of the different content, all the different stuff is going to have tweaks to it. They didn't really go
like a live team
into details. Yeah, so the live team actually has officially taken over the game. They took over the game, I think, a week or 2 ago. So the initial design team has finished their work and they're done, and is now all run by the live team.
I like to imagine that the initial dev team has been taking notes on all the complaints that come in, like things that they know like they're not in charge of fixing.
Yeah,
running it on post-it notes or in letters, and just like filing them away in file cabinets. And the live team walks in. The initial dev team walks out, hands them keys, and they walk into just an office, a warehouse full of file cabinets. And they're like, "Good luck. A's over there. Double Z, he's over there.
Yeah. So
Hi, guys.
it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see where it's going to go and how much they will change and how much will stay the same. Some of the things people have a problem with, I don't, and then vice versa. Some things I like, people have a problem with. So wait, that's the same thing. I just said it
Some things
backwards.
you have a problem with, people don't.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see the changes they make. But overall, the gameplay itself, so it keeps me coming back. I love it.
Yep.
Nightfalls feel like a challenge this year, which they started not to at the end of Destiny 1.
Yeah, once you kind of got good at it last
Maybe
year,
D2 will be different, as we go on. Maybe things will kind of go back to that. But for now, they're really freaking hard. And then if they're not hard enough, there's a harder version of them, which are even more hard. So it's hard squared. So I'm very happy with it, and I look forward to the future. So that's what I've been doing. Destiny 2, I'm excited.
Yep, I've been playing the same thing whenever I play games.
Yep.
I haven't hit my limit on Destiny, but I know I'm at that point in Destiny where I got to last time that I kept pushing through, which really burned me on Destiny 1.
Right.
And so now I was like, all right, I hop on and play with you.
Yeah.
And our other buddy. We do weeklies together. I'm only playing my main. I have my other characters there that are high enough that I could jump in on something.
Yeah.
They are not quite raid level,
Right.
but with about 2 hours or so worth of work on both of them, like per character, I could probably make them raid ready if I needed to.
Yeah.
So they're close. They're closer than my last alts were.
Right.
So it's just one of those things like coming up this week. There's games coming out this week that I want to get, and there's already Shadow Wars out that I want to get.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at the point where I'm going to start transitioning to other games and just coming back to Destiny.
Yeah.
When I've beaten those games or
Right.
when I want to play with my friends.
Oh yeah, I mean Destiny. There's no reason to be playing Destiny 7 nights a week.
Yeah.
The reason we played Destiny 1 that way is because there was nothing else to
There
play.
wasn't.
There was nothing we wanted
No.
to play. There was a good 6 to 9 months of just no games.
69 months.
6 to 9.
Oh.
So it's good. It's healthy. We've got Super Mario Brothers is coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
I get to pick up my copy tonight. I still haven't decided if I'm going to.
Yep.
So
right now,
it's-
I am getting a little bit of sleep before I board a plane from Chicago back home.
Mhm.
If I leave my hotel at 4:15 in the morning,
See,
to
what you
get on
should
a
have
plane.
done is pre-ordered at a place in Chicago and then just picked it up while you were in Chicago,
Yeah.
and then you have it for the
Actually,
plane
what I
ride
probably
back.
should have done is just pre-ordered it digitally and downloaded it to my system from a hotel in Chicago. But
That's
I
true.
don't remember how much stuff is on my system, and I don't really want to delete my Zelda stuff just yet. So I know
Yeah.
that's the big.
I mean, at least you
space suck.
probably have SD cards that fit in there, right?
I have one
Oh, it's the one for the camera. Yeah,
back in
that's true.
there.
That's fair.
That's okay.
I forgot about that.
It's all good. I pre-ordered the physical version, and I'll be going to Best Buy when I get back home from Chicago.
There you go. And then you'll have
Which is
all
like 9 in the
all day
morning.
like Friday to play it.
Yep.
So that'll be great. What else have you been
Truth.
doing?
I played Destiny like maybe a night or two this week.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've been watching Rick and Morty. I got
Yeah.
I got a Hulu subscription just so I could watch Rick and Morty. There's 2 of the 3 seasons are on Hulu.
Right.
So I do want to get a hold of the 3rd season somehow and watch it because
Somehow.
I want to watch more Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things I went into and we had friends that recommended it.
Yeah.
And we've seen stuff all over it. We did a story on the Szechuan sauce thing
Mhm.
a while ago. And it's weird when you get started, but just like
So
anything like when you get into Archer or Family Guy or insert your weird animated funny show here,
right.
like it's always weird up front.
yeah.
Then you watch 2 or 3 episodes and you understand the humor, you understand the style of the show, and it's all funny.
Yeah, when you first watch Rick and Morty, if you haven't ever watched it, Rick is just a very like the way he talks can be very, very maddening. Because it's like just get to the point. Like stop burping. Stop like
I know the
stumbling
burping is
over
probably
your
what drives
words.
me the most.
I'm just
nuts.
like, oh my goodness, but I get that's like his.
Yeah, it's not a
whole
question, Morty.
appeal.
Kind of it's not very charismatic. Kind of makes you an underfoot character.
Which I mean, hearing it back now, it's like once you get used to it, it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
But
it's just part of his speech
it's
pattern.
very jarring at the beginning of it.
I
for
think
sure.
they did it a lot in episode 1, and as part of that pilot feedback, they probably said, you know what, Rick can probably burp a little bit less. We love the show, but he can probably burp a little bit less because
Right.
it does kind of drag. It gets to you.
Yeah,
But
sure.
this is actually a shot from the first episode.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very fast. He's like, there it is, Morty. There's the giant trees. If you haven't watched Rick and Morty,
Mega trees.
You-
I think they were called
mega trees.
mega trees.
Need to put them up your butt, Morty. Put them all the way up.
Put them way up your butt.
Oh, it's a new machine. It scans for things all the way up your butt.
All the way up your butt.
Run, Morty!
Run, Morty! It's good. We don't want to spoil it for you, but we did. So
Yeah, I mean that's just bits from the first episode.
Yeah.
and one from the second.
yeah, it's good stuff. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
it. enjoy
Bless
it.
you.
Don't watch it with your kids though.
No, probably not a good show to watch with the kids. It's funny they bleep some things and not others.
Yeah,
Like,
not the
'cause-
versions I've been watching.
Well, yeah, maybe not. But like,
that's a different thing.
well, yeah, like on Hulu, it's like this word's bleeped here, but it's not here.
Ooh,
It's just like, well, that's weird.
yeah,
Odd choices there. Maybe it's you get an amount per episode that you have to
right.
get out.
I don't know. It's a good question. So
I don't
that's
know.
that's what's new for
ahead.
us this last weekend.
For our first topic
Mhm.
of the show this week, we have a few less topics, but we've got some heavy hitters. Our first article comes to us from Rolling Stone, not something, not a site we go to often. This one's big.
It is big.
Activision was granted a patent this month for a system that uses it it uses to convince people in multiplayer games to purchase items for a game through microtransactions. Sorry.
That's a good
Those-
one.
Activision has a patent now for a new microtransaction system, and also they're kind of guising it under this matchmaking system.
Yeah.
Is I think the initial point of it. Overall, I think it'll probably be used more for matchmaking than it is for microtransactions.
Right.
But it's being put under this umbrella of this will make more money for microtransactions. So, this was an exploratory patent filled in 2015 by an R&D team working independently for Activision's game studios. Hasn't been implemented in any game yet, so it's not anywhere. You're not seeing this. If you think you're seeing this, you're not. I promise. It's a system for driving microtransactions in multiplayer games. I'll read it first, and then we'll kind of like
There you go.
make decisions
Yeah,
about
let's
it
read a
because
little
it's kind
bit
of
about it.
yeah, it's weird. So, quote, for example, in one implementation, the system may include a microtransaction engine that arranges matches to influence game-related purchases. For instance, the microtransaction engine may match a more expert marquee player with a junior player to encourage the junior player to make game-related purchases of items possessed/used by the marquee player. A junior player may wish to emulate the marquee player by obtaining weapons or other items by the marquee player. In a particular example, the junior player may wish to become an expert sniper in a game, e.g. as determined from the player profile. The microtransaction engine may match the junior player with a player that is highly skilled sniper, that is a highly skilled sniper in the game. Sorry. In this manner, the junior player may be encouraged to make game-related purchases, such as a rifle or other item used by the marquee player. Doing so may enhance level of enjoyment by the player for game-related purchases, which may encourage future purchases. For example, if the player purchased a particular weapon, the microtransaction engine may match the player in a gameplay session in which particular weapon is highly effective, giving the player an impression that the particular weapon was a good purchase. This may encourage the player to make future purchases to achieve similar gameplay results. So, that is it in a nutshell.
That is a huge amount of words. Basically, the concept behind this is they're going to put you in matches with people that are way better than you, and then they will push to have you buy the same things those people are using and tell you that it'll make you better. And then you'll use them, and then you will just be better with them suddenly, as if you paid to win.
Yeah, spoiler alert, guys. Here's a little like sneak point for those of you out there that are like trying to get better at games. Buying better weapons does not make you better at the game.
Ugh.
Just saying, if a MLG player walks in with a stock weapon against you, who might suck with your super expensive weapon, he's gonna win.
Yeah.
Or she's gonna win. They are going to win. It's not about weapons. Partly it is.
We're an inclusive
but
podcast here.
partly it's about skill. And if you suck and you think buying weapons is going to make you better, you're wrong. So sorry to like shatter your reality, but it's just true. But it is like, this is the definition of pay to win.
I
right?
mean, it's awful. Like it's terrible. Like it's not being used. It's R&D. There's no current plans announced that they're going to be using it.
Yeah.
But I mean, chances are this is going to start to come this way. And only Activision can do it. But if you think about what properties does Activision have that could make money from a multiplayer game, can you think of any?
Gee, James, I'm not sure.
Call of Duty. Oh, it's annoying. I get it, because it's a way to make money.
It's a business, man.
And it's a business.
I
And
get
this
it
is
from
an
that angle.
easy way to make money, because there's been a ton of times in Call of Duty where you're sitting there, it's like, man, that guy just wrecked me. What is he using? You see it, and then now you go drive to unlock that gun because that's what the progression is right now, or maybe buy a bunch of loot crates. But that's another question entirely.
It's a different topic.
Now,
we're
if
not
they're going to
talking
give you
about
that
this
option, be like, hey, it looks like you just got your butt kicked by that AK-47 with a super awesome, wonderful auto aim mod. Do you want to buy that? It only cost you $10 real. Oh, $10 real? That's not bad. I can just skip McDonald's today. And there you go.
Yep.
And then they're going to put you in with a bunch of noobs, and then it rotates it all over again.
That's the part where it gets really scummy. Right there. It's one thing when you get matched up with players that have better gear. That
Right.
happens in regular matchmaking.
Yeah.
That's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna play against guys who have better gear because they've been playing longer or they have more money than you.
Right.
That's just reality.
Mhm.
So if you see that, you're like, oh, I kind of want to go buy that. Okay, that's one thing. Like I don't like buying things, unlock them. I'd rather play and earn them and be like, man, like because that's another thing that you see. Be like, oh, they have the gold camo on that gun. They've been playing a lot.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, they have the gold camo on that gun. They might have just bought it because he's level 6.
Right.
Like
exactly.
he's not prestige 10, level 30.
Mhm.
He's level 6.
Yeah.
No prestige.
He's got
He
like
bought
7
that.
gold weapons or something.
And the thing is, like the microtransaction industry has made billions.
Right.
That's a B. Billions of dollars for these industries from whales and other things. And I've made the odd microtransaction.
Yeah.
The one that sticks out in my head is Borderlands 2.
Mhm.
I bought a skin for my character, and it looked awesome.
It
And I
did.
don't regret that at all. And it was $1. And I'm like,
remember
cool,
it. Yeah.
this is awesome. But that's, again, coming back to the microtransaction argument of it's perfectly okay when it's cosmetic.
Right.
These things are aiming to give you an advantage in the
Mhm.
game. And that's where I think the line gets drawn of like,
Yeah.
eh.
Yeah, I saw a stat. I think it was in the article that we've got here, but I'll make sure. If not, I'll find a new link and post it. But Activision's in-game sales, like in 2015, were 1.6 billion. Last year, 2016, it went up to 3.6 billion dollars. One company, couple games. They don't exactly pump out 30, 40 games a year,
Yeah.
and you're looking at $3.6 billion. Probably going to be more this year. You got Call of Duty World War II coming out. They're going to make a ton of money off of that. Everyone's going to be buying everything because they're going back to World War II, going to that
It's
retro feel.
revolutionary.
Yeah. So, which I don't have a problem with Call of Duty
I don't
World War
either.
II. That's a totally different
I plan
situation.
on playing it, but
Yeah, Redbox it maybe.
yeah, maybe.
But it's just a crappy situation, and I think
Yeah.
it for so long. We pushed against like DLC, and we pushed against like microtransactions. Like, okay, well, we could do microtransactions, but only if it's cosmetic. How much do you think the microtransaction world we have now is a result of allowing cosmetics? Like, do you think if we had pushed back against cosmetics 3 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever this started, we would not have it becoming as bad as it is now?
I don't know. I think it's one of those things like it's bound to happen whether we push back against it or not.
Yeah.
Because you see all the screen caps now, like guys putting out GoldenEye, like Cream Tops was like, oh, look at all the maps we had in here, and it just came with the game. And now we have things like season passes where we start the game, we get like 5 maps, and then we have DLCs that we pay $30 for that give us, 3 more maps. And then we pay another $30, we get 3 more maps. So
Yeah.
that's probably where the things started to like go down the proverbial hill first.
Right.
Because microtransactions and in-game transactions started with DLCs, which we pushed back against the first time.
Right.
And so with that, and then we do allow all the cosmetic stuff, which I think is fine. But then as a businessman, you don't see that, oh, it's just cosmetics. The guys in the tower
Mhm.
see, oh, it was in-game transactions. Let's keep putting those in because those are making us the money. Initial game
Right.
sales are nothing compared to the actual
Yeah,
in-game
it's
transactions.
ridiculous how much they're making on it. So I mean, we've talked about it before. We don't really have like a way to deter because
No.
we're not going to buy it, but we're not the ones. Our $10 of microtransactions we're not using. This is a drop in the bucket compared to Timmy Go Lucky down the street
Yeah.
paying $300. We can get a golden multi-touch or something. Just some
Yeah,
ridiculous
that's the
thing.
And it makes me wonder what's coming next. So now DLCs are just a thing we deal with.
Yeah,
And we don't even think about the fact that, we do think about the fact that the odd, occasional gamer on Reddit posts that picture of the GoldenEye thing about, oh, this, games used to come as one big thing.
Mhm.
But so what's like the next thing past microtransactions that we're getting ready to miss because we're so focused on microtransactions? Like if we want to get out ahead of this thing, like what do we need to do to be like, all right, we want to stop like paying for our games inside of our games?
Yeah, I think this may sound kind of political, but I think to the internet laws that we're dealing with in the United States right now, we've got a big vote coming up with the FCC here, or an announcing a vote right before Thanksgiving, is the rumor right now, and the whole idea of net neutrality.
Yeah.
And basically, it's a set of safeguards that we have to prevent ISPs from, charging or adjusting things based on specific sites and specific things. And it's protecting the consumer so that when you pay to access the internet, you get the internet. You don't get half the internet. You don't get a slow internet. You get the internet.
Yep.
Right? They don't slow down certain sites. They don't throw anything out. Obviously, there's violations here and there. Nobody's perfect. But that's the general model we have right now. And the problem is it's coming under attack because they put the former Verizon lawyer as the head of the FCC. And of course, he doesn't like net neutrality because it doesn't benefit him.
No.
So they want to get rid of it. And then because of that, companies can come and charge whatever they want for stuff. So what if, while we're sitting around bickering about all these microtransactions, ISPs get this passed, and now Time Warner's like, oh, do you want to be first in line for all your gaming lobbies and have all the best settings and have the lowest ping? Well, just pay us $10 more a month. And you can have the best gaming sessions. You'll never have any lag. Like, that sounds terrifying. And that's something that could legitimately happen while we're focused on microtransactions.
And that's the
not
thing,
saying
too.
that microtransactions are a bad thing to focus on, but this is a really important issue, and a lot of people just aren't really applying it to games at this point.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, because I feel like it probably would be just like that. It'd be like, oh, just for $10 more a month, you'll get these better connections for your gaming.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, $10 isn't that much. Because even when you said that, my initial thought was like, oh, $10 isn't that much. Like if Cox came to me and were like, hey, like your bill's going to go up by $10 if you want to keep gaming at this level, I'd be like, oh, $10 isn't that much, whatever. Like it's $10.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps going,
Yep.
And all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, will they pay $10? Will they pay $20?
Right.
And I'll be like, well,
or it's like, do you want the social media package? Yeah, we'll double your access to your Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest, and it'll be it'll be $20. And so then you've got that. Then say how many customers do they have in Omaha? Omaha's 2 million people approximately, like the whole metro area.
Something
maybe
like that.
throw in Council Bluffs, and so let's say they've got 500,000 customers. That pay for internet, probably more than that, and everybody pays $10 more now for social media or $10 more for gaming. That's a couple $1 million, and they're literally doing nothing different.
Yeah,
and
the ones that are going to get you is they're going to be like, hey, do you want to stream HD your Netflix?
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like, ooh, well, yeah. Because like I live and die on Netflix and YouTube at this point. And it's just like, all right, it's, here you go.
Oh, do you want to hire a higher cap on your bandwidth? Yeah, sure, we can do that. An extra $10. All of a sudden your internet bill may double or triple, and you
didn't even notice.
It's just ridiculous. And so and then we're sitting here talking about, well, we can buy shaders in Destiny, so it's broken. So not to say, but I mean that's
that
one
is
of
kind of like painting with a broad brush a little bit,
right?
But that can be a possibility if we're not paying attention to the internet as a whole. While we're bickering on this one part of the internet, the rest of the internet could be being shut down on you.
I think when we talk about gaming development in general, because I think that's kind of the overall idea of the question, I think to what just happened with Visceral, right? Visceral gets shut down.
Yep.
Comes out that they were basically making an Uncharted style Star Wars game. It's kind of the general thought, right? With Amy Hennig in there. And they found that people weren't connecting with it. It's a single player, story driven, linear game. They weren't wanting to do it. It's like, okay, did they really have the customers at heart, or were they seeing Destiny's big sales figures and their microtransactions and all this stuff? I mean, like, we want that because we don't have that yet. It's like, oh yeah, we've got Anthem coming eventually, but we could cannibalize that. If we could toss Star Wars into that and do the same thing.
Boy, I hope they don't do that.
And granted, maybe it would be really good. Chances are it would be.
Maybe it would, but if I'm picking between Anthem, what we saw at E3, and Star Wars that's built like Anthem,
right?
I would rather have Anthem.
I think so.
I don't want Star Wars theme like that. Like, I would rather have Star Wars as Battlefront with this like 8-hour story in multiplayer, or
it's
like
not built around loot crates.
Yeah, or like Knights of the Old Republic. That's just like big long single player story, like 30 hours. Like that's what I want in my Star Wars. Or like Force Unleashed was a great example. Like fun real time lightsaber combat with a fun story. Like I don't want Anthem. I don't want Destiny in my Star Wars. It's like, all right, go and do side missions and weekly missions. Like I wouldn't buy that.
Yeah, but they're seeing the money, and so now we're all of a sudden seeing people trying to find ways to capitalize it. So let's make big online worlds, ton of microtransactions, buy everything you want to get,
games
and
as a
just
service.
we'll toss you in games as a service. And I think that's kind of the next natural progression for gaming development and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary because it's hard to commit time into games. Like splitting my time between Mario Super Odyssey. There's a couple games on the shelf. I want to grab Shadow of War. We've got Destiny 2.
Wolfenstein 2.
Then Wolfenstein 2 is coming out. All those things like I want to play. Wolfenstein 2 is probably going to be the easiest one to do because it's going to be like, 10 or 15 hour campaign.
Yeah.
Blow through it. It's single player. That's it. That's all I need to do.
Yep.
But you talk about Destiny 2, that's something that we've probably spent 75, 80 hours in, and I haven't even scratched the surface of what I want to do yet. And, we've got new content coming out. We got the raid, we got the prestige raid, we got prestige nightfalls, we got everything. And they're going to keep adding more. There's new events coming. That's all great and wonderful.
Yeah.
It's basically, it's trying to be an MMO in the console genre, which is awesome. And I'm all for that. But then Shadow of War, like that's a 30 or 40 hour campaign you're looking at, and it's open world, and it's got stuff at the end, and it's got leaderboards, and it's got a type of multiplayer, and that's a lot of time. And then you look at what Anthem's going to be, and you look at all the other games. We got Super Mario Odyssey. Is that a 10-hour game? No, it's not, because it's Super Mario, right? So 30 hours, 40 hours, who knows?
How much time you want to spend into collecting everything in Mario?
And so where do I have time to do that? As a parent and as a husband, like I don't have 4
you gotta
hours
do the actual life part
a night.
of your day.
I don't have like 5 or 6 hours during the day to game anymore. I can't stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning gaming every night. I can do it sometimes. So that's the part. Like I am already beginning to miss single player focused games. That's why I was mad about Rise of the Tomb Raider not coming to us first. Therefore, I can't ever play it because I'm not supporting that. Because that was a really first Tomb Raider, great single player game, really solid, like good exploration, great collectibles. Didn't feel like I had to get them, but it was fun to find them. That was awesome. That's what I want in a game. Uncharted 4, really good example, like gorgeous graphics, good enough story. Let's say 15 hours or so that I spent in that, and you could easily go back and do it again if you wanted to.
Yep.
So stuff like that.
They're out there.
We're just not going to see that anymore.
The Bethesdas and Ubisofts of the world, I think, will still be those outlets with your Watch Dogs and Wolfensteins and that kind of thing, and your Assassin's Creed, that kind of stuff, like where it's going to keep being that.
Yeah.
Will still be there. But my kind of worry with this games as a service approach to stuff in this kind of open world, mostly online kind of thing is where we're seeing with like Fortnite and PUBG.
Yeah.
These games that are, you buy them, but they're in early access.
Yeah.
And they're just like rife with bugs in their jank. And Friday the 13th is a bit of an example, but it's actually out, but it's still like super buggy.
Right.
It's all online multiplayer, and it's like they're having server issues still. And there are games that came out and had server issues at launch, which is almost expected anymore, which is another thing that like crept up on us that we just is normal now.
Right.
But like that happened with like Rocket League. Rocket League comes out, is just full of server issues. They take all the money they get, pump it right back into Rocket League, fix their servers, and now it's still one of the best-selling games on consoles. It's on every MPD like every month as a bestseller. But you see games like Friday the 13th did relatively well, still having these problems. They just released the physical version last Friday.
Yeah.
And so I worry when we talk about everybody moving to these kind of things that Anthem's going to come out as a game we're looking forward to is going to be full of these little bugs, because like we've just learned to accept that. People have been playing PUBG and they praise PUBG and they're like, oh, game of the year. And then when you think about it, you're like, it's broken. If this was a full-fledged $60, not early release title, and it was this broken, would you be calling it game of the year?
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
because you're not calling Friday the 13th game of the year.
Yeah.
You're calling things like The Fractured But Whole a game of the year. You're calling things like Breath of the Wild a game of the year. These fully finished, fleshed out titles that are really great. Yeah. But if we keep moving to this game as a service thing, we're depending on all these servers and stuff.
No, that's
makes
fair.
me nervous.
It's it's a troubling thing to see for sure, but that's just where the money is, and that's where the people don't see. We just heard from Rockstar with Grand Theft Auto. They finally addressed like the single player content that never came out, and they basically said it wasn't possible. And like that's not true. Like you saw the money in and how much people were spending on GTA 5 Online, and you said we can't make money in single player, and that's the crux of the issue. Is that you make your money when you sell the game for single player, and that's it. You're done. You can't do anymore. Horizon Zero Dawn, great example. That's a 50-hour campaign. We still only paid $60 for it.
Yep.
Now they have DLC coming out. $15 for PlayStation Plus subscribers, or $20 overall. It's not standalone. You got to have the first game installed and on there for it to work. But that's a model that is working, and I feel like Guerrilla Games had a huge hit on their hands. That being said, the moment that game launched, they lost the ability to make more money off of it.
Yeah.
All they can do is keep selling it. Like there's no growth to it. Whereas with multiplayer games, it's like, oh yeah, we have this big initial burst of cash from everybody buying it, and then we have this trickle in of flow as people play the game. Whereas Rockstar saw like people spend an inordinate amount of money in Grand Theft Auto Online, still to this day.
Yeah, well, what's great about Rockstar, and honestly, they're doing it in a way that I would consider to be right, is, I mean, you can play the game and you can unlock all the stuff without spending any real world money.
Right.
But I mean, you should unlock it faster. When you spend you
Obviously.
unlock your vehicles and like a yacht and bigger garages and that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
which is where you buy the shark cars and whatever. But all their DLC is free. Everything you see, like Achievement Hunter and Funhouse and all these people do, of these fun races and all these different heist stuff, that's all free. 100%. Like you bought Grand Theft Auto, you can play Grand Theft Auto Online. All these cool things you see that you bought it for, you don't got to pay for.
Right.
Like just play the game. And it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. And because of the whales in GTA, we all get this fun free content that we get to play.
Right.
But there are ways it can go wrong. And I do appreciate developers out there like Bethesda who put out Wolfenstein 2. And they're like, no, we didn't put a multiplayer in it because that would detract from the single player story.
Right.
And it's not needed. And I'm like, man, good on you. That's awesome.
It's almost
Way to
annoying
go,
that we
P.
have to say that though. Like that should almost be expected. Wolfenstein's a single player game. It's single player. Like we shouldn't have to be at the point where we applaud people for not tacking on multiplayer. That should just be a generally assumed thing that you're not going to do it unless it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But
Every now and then there's games that I don't feel like need multiplayer, but
yeah,
it's still fun and people do play it, but they play it for about a month and it's done. Like Uncharted 4, Last of Us. Like people played it and they're like, oh, the multiplayer is actually pretty fun in these games, but it's like, why aren't you still playing it? I'm like, oh, I kind of got my fill of it. I'm like, yeah, you added, 5 hours to your gameplay,
right?
Which not saying it's not worth it,
right?
But was it worth all the dev hours to put multiplayer in to get that out of it?
I think Last of Us was actually good because it put in like unique game modes and stuff that made sense
Yeah.
for that realm, and people actually got a ton of enjoyment out of it. But Uncharted always felt tacked on. Like it's just
It did. It's just like, oh, look at all these
weird.
Well, it felt weird because like you're playing like, oh, it's Nathan Drake and
Nathan Drake
and
Nathan
and
Drake's brother,
then Chloe and Sam Drake.
It's just weird.
So it was odd and felt weird and whatever.
Not a game that needed it.
At the end of the day, Activision.
It's all Activision's fault.
Dang you, Activision.
I was really excited that I put this together. I'm really proud of how it turned out.
Guys sensually licking money over the Activision logo.
Granted,
listening.
the whole thing was not about Activision, but I wanted to drive the point home. I think you understand my point. Activision licks money. Licks your money.
I think we have an episode title there, my friend. Activision licks money. That's what I'm going to call it, whether you name it something or not.
Since I'm editing, I kind of get to make that call.
Yeah, but I can still get on YouTube and rename it.
Just be bouncing
I make
back
thumbnails,
titles all
sir.
week.
All right. On to the next story of the day, which is just full of controversy and fun things to talk about.
Controversy, I like that.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon.
That's good.
Controversy.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's good.
NeoGAF
Yes.
shuts down, essentially, implodes on itself.
It was
After
impressive.
accusations of sexual misconduct by the owner, Tyler Malka, a.k.a. Evil Lore.
Evil Lore. This one came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was. We don't frequent NeoGAF because it's
Not really. It's
it's
kind of a
awful.
garbage looking site.
It's awful. I just don't like the formatting. Maybe that's just me, but it looks like a 1990s forum
Believe,
still.
James.
That's their logo
I
from
know.
their page.
I'm just
Like
saying,
it's
you gotta believe.
This is ridiculous. It's stupid. So it originally started, if you don't know anything about NeoGAF, it started as the Game Arena Forums, GAF, and that was back in
Which I
the
assume
90s.
is what the GAF and NeoGAF stands for.
Right, exactly. So they started a new spawn out of that. It was like a breakaway from GAF, called it NeoGAF. Now GAF is just basically just an archive on NeoGAF. But the site layout hasn't changed in approximately forever. It's just an old school message board look and feel to it. Maybe
Yep.
I'm just used to Reddit and how Reddit looks and interacts and stuff, but NeoGAF is just unwieldy. There's just so much wasted space.
NeoGAF has been used by like a lot of not devs, media and journalists and just the gaming world as a whole, because you go there and if it leaked to NeoGAF, there's probably a lot of truth behind it.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
GAF
it's a
is
good
just
source.
for like hardcore gaming news,
Yeah.
and it's literally that. There's no fluff whatsoever on
Yeah,
GAF.
it's a very tight knit community, and it's not. I mean, it's easy to get banned. It's easy to not be able to be a part of it.
Yep.
It's interesting, but it's also one of the most like referenced sources on the internet when it comes to gaming news.
A lot of the articles we get reference GAF.
Yeah. So what happened?
NeoGAF admin and owner Tyler Evilore Malka was last week named by film director Loop.
I can't say that word.
IMALEUPP. So that was boy.
You're welcome.
All right. Named by this person on an account of sexual harassment posted to her Facebook, where sexual harassment and assault survivors posted to her Facebook. She shared details. I skipped the line.
Yeah.
Shared details of the incident as part of the ongoing #MeToo movement, where sexual harassment and assault survivors speak out about their experiences to highlight how widespread the issue is. Started by one Harvey Weinstein.
That's true.
Kind of kicked off this whole event.
Conversation started. So as this account circulated, called for Malka to make a statement or leave the site. The community got really upset. They got wildly violent.
Imagine how internet communities get upset. Triple it because it's NeoGAF, and imagine them just all attacking one.
Well, imagine
singular
like
person.
the old like fire and pitchfork like protests back in the witches era, and it was like that, but on the internet.
The Salem witch hunt of
it was
internet.
the Salem witch hunt of the internet
this week.
So site mods started resigning at that point. This was all last week.
Last weekend.
She posted it. It was Wednesday last week, and then but she quickly took it down. It still went viral, and by Friday, it started rampantly going through NeoGAF. That's where the screenshots made it.
Yeah.
At one point, a statement was said to be coming. It was posted from an anonymous mod account, their mod bot, which is their big bot account. Never transpired. Site reached the tipping point with users in open rebellion against Malka. A ton of threads were open accusing him of sexual harassment.
Almost was like, hey,
asking to be banned from the site. People wanting nothing to do with it. NeoGAF went down for a day and a half.
Yep, it just came up yesterday.
Yeah, it came up yesterday. Had it down. At first, it was just down because it was down because there was no one there to maintain it because half the mods quit. So it went down. There was a ton of spike in traffic because everyone wanted to get there and yell at him.
Yep.
And basically, it all came down to an encounter back in 2015. We're not really going to go into the details of the encounter because it's all alleged and it's not super important. But at the end of the day, he was accused of sexual harassment, and there were a lot of questions about it. So
we did get an update today.
Yes, we did.
I saw an article over on Kotaku. All of the articles we talk about, by the way, are in a link below. You can read them all. I encourage you to go read them all.
Yes.
Kind of form your own opinions on stuff, and then talk to us about them on Twitter and on the platform of your choice that you're consuming this podcast.
The comment section.
But Tyler Malka issued a pretty long statement that basically said nothing.
Yeah.
So
refusing to accept blame.
Yeah, essentially, like it opens with, it's not true. The individual making the accusation isn't credible. The story doesn't reconcile logically with the facts, and there's plenty of evidence and witnesses to corroborate that. It's just the whole statement essentially is, I mean, that's pretty much it wrapped up.
Yeah.
He says, I didn't do it. You can't believe her, which is literally top 2 reasons people aren't speaking out about sexual harassment. Because, like, hold on, like, who are you gonna believe, me or them? Like, I'm a public figure, and they're just a person trying to get famous. It's like, that's not what's happening. No one accuses the owner of NeoGAF to get famous. Like, this is some, and the problem is Malka has a history of this.
That's right. You think, oh, well, if it's just one situation, maybe it's a misunderstanding. Maybe it's, nope, not the case. Happened again back in 2012 in France. They were out at a club drinking and made some advances and he misunderstanding.
I think he misunderstood what they were doing. Like, they were getting cheap drinks.
Yeah.
And, like, to prove to this girl that he wasn't some easy, like, American mark or whatever, he, like, grabs her butt and, like, does something. And then out of his own mouth, 2 people admits that, says it. It's like, all right, you're not really building a strong case for yourself. You found an article that is, like, a huge write-up of all the stuff he's done.
So it was on Vice, which I normally try and avoid Vice, but it was more of an investigative journalism type piece. It took me a good 15, 20 minutes, but went over everything. He talked to different mods from it. He talked to the original source. He talked to, everybody that was involved with it. Talked about the 2012 incident, 2015, pretty much everything. If you want to know, Go down. It's the waypoint.vice.com article below. Really good. It seemed decently unbiased. It was just to get all the facts out there. So go check it out. It was frustrating and annoying. It sucks that this like continues to be an issue that we have to talk about because it's just not fair. It's not right that these people should be able to do this and get away with it if it's what happened. We're not here to say if it did or did not happen, but it's still ridiculous.
I'm not trying to like pull the, whatever card of like, oh, we need more evidence. It's like, if it didn't happen, this is a really serious accusation.
Yeah.
If it did happen, he should be like locked out of the internet forever. But if it didn't happen, he shouldn't be punished for something he didn't do. But I am glad to see. I mean, glad is a word. It's maybe a poor choice of word, but it's inspiring to see, people speaking out with this hashtag Me Too movement, and like seeing how widespread the problem is, and like some people you see putting up that hashtag, you're like, I had no idea, and some people not that it has happened to, and it's like, all right, we're seeing a huge shift in the culture of like, all right, we're shutting this down. I'm like, this can't not happen.
To make it okay to talk about.
I just recently had listened to Kevin Smith's book on Audible. He put it out in 2012, and he got his start. If you don't know who Kevin Smith is, he's Silent Bob from Jay and Silent Bob. He did Clerks and Mallrats, and he actually directed Cop Out, Tracy Morgan, Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Awesome guy. Really funny.
Sure.
And a good book, but he got to start with Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein's a big reason he is where he is, and he tweeted out and was very open about the fact, once all the Weinstein stuff came out, he's like, I am ashamed that I had no idea that this was happening, or that if I did know, I didn't do anything about it. And he's taking all the residual money he's been getting from his Miramax films and donating it all to like women in films. Like it's some organization that he's donating to. And like, that's cool. It's super cool. And I think there's probably more people like him out there doing that I just haven't heard about or I just don't know about. And I think that's really cool that that's happening.
It is interesting. I mean, it's one of those things. I think the whole point of the movement was to show just how many people were impacted by it. And I didn't realize it because it was all over my Facebook feed. And I was like, what? I knew you in high school. Like I knew you were cool. Like we were friends. Like how? And not to say that everybody should be talking about it, but it's interesting to think like that literally is happening to your neighbors and to your friends and to your family and your coworkers. And it's literally everywhere.
It's one of those things like as a dude, you just hope that I hope I've never said anything to like cross that line. And I know I have.
Right.
I know. I mean, we all have at a certain point, but it's just like you hope now, like as an adult, that you haven't crossed that line unintentionally, but it sounded, you just,
no,
it's a fine line to dance on. But it's like I don't want to be there. I don't want to be anywhere close to that line, especially now in the way this.
It helps that I work almost entirely with men in my profession, so I don't have to I don't worry as much about it. But getting back to NeoGAF, the site's back up now, but it's an absolute travesty of a site, just like it was before. But now there's all these threads to go with it.
It's a travesty of a site with more anger and less.
Everyone's
mods.
complaining about it. Like I read through like a couple pages of the post on his statement from yesterday or Monday, I guess it was, and boy, people use some filthy language on the internet. That's for sure. I think Reddit's like censored the way NeoGAF's going at it. They used some words that I had to Google. I'm not ashamed. It was some pretty sailor type talk.
Ooh, you salty NeoGAF sailors.
They did have a pretty controversial forum section called Off Topic, which is where a lot of political stuff went, and
not the achievement
non-gaming stuff, and it is just trash upon trash. Like it's awful stuff, and it's gone. Probably good for it. Didn't need to be there anyways. So they said they're going to temporarily close it down and reopened. It would bar all discussion of politics, which kind of begs the question: why would you bother reopening it? What else is there? There's games and there's politics. Like what's in between?
What are people going to talk about on an internet forum site?
Right. So only time will tell what will happen in NeoGAF. The mods that stuck around obviously care about the site and don't care about the owner. They want to see it succeed. So I can't say I'm that sad about NeoGAF dying if it does happen.
I'd imagine if he does get convicted of something that the mods, the hope would be, I suppose, that the mods would get together and form another NeoGAF. Like, I don't know if this type of community needs to move to Reddit. I don't think that'd be great for everyone. Like, not that it's like, oh, keep Reddit clean, because if you've ever been on Reddit for more than a minute, there's no point. But like, I think there needs to be just a site like NeoGAF that you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to GAF and look specifically for gaming news.
Right.
And so I think that still needs to exist, and they probably will if it
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the
does
day,
go
I don't
down.
think it's necessarily the website's fault.
No.
You know, it's just it happened to be something that he owned. So I think if something comes of it, then you know maybe we'll see. So it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see. I love it just because it's an insider source. Like the leaks and stuff almost always tend to come from GAF first,
Yep.
and they leak to Reddit. They get to other stuff too, but a lot of like the actual sources for stuff bounces up on GAF and then
Yep.
goes out from there. So where does it go? If GAF goes away, where does it go? Do people go to Reddit? Do they go to some other site? Do they go straight to journalists, or do we stop getting leaks? Like that's
Yeah.
the question. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We'll still get to know stuff when we need to know it. So it's kind of a sad time in gaming journalism just because that was a huge piece of it for the last 10, 15 years.
Yep.
So
I
you know how it
had
is.
heard, and this may not be true, so don't quote me on it. I heard on another podcast that he heard somewhere that Malka was offered like a few years ago, like $10 million for GAF.
I believe
He was
it.
offered the money for the site. He turned it down because he said someone will pay me more. And now the site's basically worth nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna have to take a mighty turnaround here with all
Yep.
the mods.
So
that
I don't
left
imagine
and-
it'll ever be what it used to be, but we will see. Moving on to, I suppose, is positive news. I don't know.
It's definitely more positive than the last couple.
Aggressively
spots.
neutral news. A big new update from Nintendo Switch is out now. Update 4.0.0 adds a number of notable and welcome features. Perhaps the biggest of which are video capture support and the ability to transfer data to a new system.
Whoop, whoop. I think the interesting thing here is that they've already made it to 4.0, and PlayStation just hit 5.0, and it was like what 3.5 years
I
later.
think they're more liberal with their use of
yeah,
the
they're
first numbers.
pretty high up there with their.
I think by the time the Switch
4.0.
ends its life cycle will be like, all right, we're on, what are you on? Oh, I'm on
12?
200.6.3.
0.3. That's probably you need to
Oh,
be
crap. You need to be on 0.4.
Yeah, 0.4,
Oh, crap.
0.4.5 really adds the fixes you need
There it is.
to get Mario Kart 74 going.
No, it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Deluxe.
It'll be in 6 months. What are you talking about?
Legendary edition.
Legendary Gold Edition. You can hold down the capture button. And this will record the previous 30 seconds of video. You can then edit your video, share it to Facebook and Twitter. Supported games include The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, ARMS, and Splatoon 2.
Those are the only 4 games on the Switch, right?
Essentially until tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much. The other major new feature in the 4.0 update is the ability to transfer user save data to another Switch. Obviously, you have to have the 4.0 update to do this.
Both might be 4.0.
And it sounds like it's going to be a permanent migration.
Like it's not a you have multiple informations on
Right.
multiple switches. It is like it was here, now it is here.
Yeah, and I can't think it would be that important to have it on both. The only times I've ever had to transfer from one console to another is when I was replacing a console or
Yep.
like replacing a hard drive or something. But it's cool that it's there. You know, that's a good thing. They're adding some new user icons for Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. You know, for whatever that's worth. If you're a big customization person.
Gives the news feed a new look and a new feature that removes particular channels' content from the feed when you unfollow that channel.
That'd be nice.
Another nice behind the scenes feature. Match version with local users, as the name suggests. The feature updates everyone's games to their latest versions, which sounds handy for people who have multiple profiles installed in their system.
See, what confuses me is that was not a thing before.
Yeah,
How
some
can
of these
you
things are like that
update a
shouldn't be like an
game
exciting update.
for one user and not the other?
It's like the single player thing we talked about like
So
45 minutes ago.
It's like ridiculous, like arbitrary. Like what's the thought process behind that? Like,
Yep.
oh, James wanted his Super Mario updated, but his wife doesn't want hers updated. She wants to play on the old crappy version, so just ignore
Yeah.
that one. Who
I
does
can s-
updates at Nintendo?
I
What's
could
wrong with you people?
see it being a thing where if like say like you and I were roommates and we shared a Switch.
Yeah,
You updated Mario on your profile
yeah.
and you're like, ah crap, it's super buggy. Don't update. And I log into Mario on mine and it's not. But that's a very like
I
specific
mean, that's not really a thing that happened. I
scenario.
mean, how many
I don't really
patches
think
have we
that happens
had
with Nintendo
in
games.
the last like 5 years on like PlayStation that caused an issue in a AAA release? Like maybe 2, and those were
Both of
fixed
them were
within,
Assassin's
like,
Creed.
24 Well, there was a Rainbow Six one where it was deleting your data when you would go to add friends or
Oh,
something
that's
ridiculous
right,
like
yeah.
it. But those were fixed really quickly, and
Yeah.
so I don't even know how it's possible to update the program for one person and not both. Are you installing
Switch
it
is
separately for
partitioned
each
very
friend?
weirdly.
This is ridiculous.
apparently.
This is just stupid, arbitrary. I'm just annoyed. It's not going to happen
It's the thing
anymore.
now.
I hope it's not
Um,
something I have to turn on. I hope it's just already there. Because I'd be really annoyed if I go on like this and add more games to my Switch, and then my wife goes to get on and like has to update all of the games. Like that'd be stupid.
At the
Like,
end of the day, how often is your wife playing the Switch?
no, I mean it's true, but
Yeah.
the point still stands. Just saying.
Another new feature is the ability to use the GameCube controllers on the Nintendo Switch. In order to do this, you'll need the adapter made available for the Wii U. So if you have the Wii U adapter, you can now plug it into your Switch by magic and sorcery. And
Man, some people love the GameCube controller. I thought it was just a mess, just a hot.
I don't understand what you would want to.
Mess.
I guess
there were about 17 extra buttons you didn't need.
if we're getting a GameCube controller, that has to mean Virtual Console's coming up soon, right?
It's gotta be. Like, what other reason is there?
Who is playing with GameCube controller on
Might
the
as well
Wii
just put like,
U?
oh, if you want to use your Nintendo 64 controller, stupid.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't think anybody's picking up the Wii U controller. It's like, oh, it's just a better controller. It's like, no, we have pro controllers for that. Everybody loves those. There has to be a specific reason we're getting
Yeah.
GameCube controllers.
Raise your hands if you feel like the GameCube is the most natural controller out there. You're wrong. There's too many buttons. There's
Well,
buttons that don't do
I
anything.
think there's more buttons on a GameCube controller than there's on other
It's
controllers.
just the worst laid out.
There's only
crap
two
ever.
triggers on one side and then
It's stupid.
matching buttons.
It's stupid.
I
How
think
many
it all
games?
equals out.
How many games used all of the buttons? I'll give you a hint. It was probably none of them. Probably none.
Maybe.
This is the worst
I
format
didn't
of
play
controller.
GameCube, so I don't
It
know.
was asymmetrical. You basically had to hold it like in a half claw, semi claw. It was stupid. I hate that controller.
He said, like,
So awful.
again, this is a Given Another Channel trailer. That controller's gone down in history as one of the best controllers of all time.
It's so ridiculous. It's just arbitrary. I also didn't like the Nintendo 64
Well, it took out
controller.
the D-pad and added the C stick.
I didn't mind the C stick. I just
Yeah.
didn't like the layout of everything else on the controller.
Yeah,
It just
pretty
felt
much.
really unnatural. The Nintendo always annoyed me because of the joystick in the center of the thing, because you couldn't hold it
The
on the sides
N64?
of the controller. Yeah, Nintendo 64. You had to hold like in the middle because there's a trigger on the back.
Well, it's nice that like all the games were set up to you either hold it like this where you're controlling it with this side, or you're
Yeah,
holding
or
it
hold
like
it like
this where
this.
you're controlling it with this one.
But it shouldn't. I'm a big symmetry guy.
There had to be some developer out there that made it so you needed both the D-pad and all the actual number
to
button
be
or the letter
a
buttons.
jerk.
You're like, crap.
Yeah, Nintendo controllers in general have not been kind to me. I like the Nintendo and
Joy-Cons
Super
are pretty
Nintendo.
dope.
Joy-Cons are cool, but I don't like the asymmetrical layout. I like my thumbstick and
Because you're a PlayStation guy.
yeah, I like my thumbsticks on the same spot and my D-pad and buttons on. It's just more comfortable to me. But that's not their fault.
I would
That's
like-
just how it is.
I would like it if they made bigger controllers.
That's true.
Personally.
I would kind of maybe want. That's why I want to get a pro controller.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it'd be a little more natural. I just don't want to pay $70 for it.
Not today.
If anyone's got a used Wii U or a Switch Pro controller they're trying to get rid of, let us know.
For $10, we'll buy two.
That's right.
I
I might even pay 20.
for two. That's a 4-2, not per. That's 4-2.
That's right.
Up next, let's talk about some games coming out this week.
Yeah. What's new this week?
And there's quite a slew of games.
It is.
This week,
It's a
games.
good thing we left a ton of time here at the end.
I know. We don't have a set time limit.
That's true.
This is we podcast.
If
how
you
we
get
do.
to the 50-minute mark and you're like, this is too long, well, that's not on us.
You maybe should have looked at how long the podcast was before you started. But if you did make it this far, we love you. Keep doing it.
Yeah,
Share with
appreciate
friends.
it.
Like, share, subscribe. All that stuff the YouTubers say. Coming out Tuesday. Came out a couple days ago.
Yep.
Destiny 2 on PC is out now.
Get excited.
If
I
you've
know a
been
lot of
waiting for it.
friends that are jumping on Twitch this
Yep.
week with it. Should be really fun. 4K graphics.
This next one almost makes me upset. Just Dance 2018 is not the part that makes me upset.
Oh, I know what makes you upset.
PS4 and Xbox One and Switch. Okay. Wii U, Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii. What is wrong with all of you?
So the part that makes me the most mad is the Wii. Like somehow they're putting this all the way from our 1080p or 4K PS4 to the what, like 240p?
We're a step removed from the GameCube at this point. James. Think about that. We have a game coming out that came out 2 days ago that is one console removed from the GameCube. Are you serious?
Hey, you want to guess at the Nintendo Wii release date? November 19th, 2006. 11 years, and we're still putting out Just Dance for it.
I understand like Just Dance is not exactly like core gamers jumping in there.
Just, it's annoying. But I mean, it's
Whatever.
I get it. For that kind of game, it makes sense. Trying to imagine the people that have a Wii that are like, oh man, I can't wait for Just Dance 2018. We've been playing 2017 for like 100 hours. We just can't get enough. But we need new songs.
It's gotta be the
man.
people that play
We need
their
new songs.
games once every 6 months.
Just Dance is basically the Apple iPod commercials. That's basically what it is.
I mean, essentially, right?
It's just the silhouettes with the headphones.
At this point, I'm
Remember those
stalling
old
to try and
Apple
get to an article I heard about earlier that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, I can't believe
it's-
there's still some. It's got to be like just the worst kind of reproduction possible, right? To be able to put it out on 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 different consoles, and somehow not on PC. What are you talking about? People don't want to dance in front of their PCs. You could do Just Dance VR. You get the HTC Vive out. You could actually be dancing. But nope, they missed out on that, so they could put it on the Wii.
Here we go. All right, now I found it.
Wii.
Good work. Proud of your stalling abilities. Original Xbox games playable on the Xbox One. So this is an update coming. I found this article on GameSpot.
Stalin.
I like your Joseph Stalin impression.
Original Xbox games.
Original Xbox games that are currently backwards compatible on Xbox One. So if you have them, if you have the discs, just go ahead and slide them into your Xbox.
That's really cool.
If you have them digitally, go ahead and slide it into your Xbox.
I don't know. I didn't know they had digital games on Xbox.
I don't think they do. Black, Blood Rain 2, Crimson Skies, High Road to Revenge, Dead to Rights, Fusion Frenzy, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, The King Fighters Neo Wave, Ninja Gaiden Black, Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, Psychonauts, Red Faction 2, Sid Meier's Pirates, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh! There's the kicker. Is those the only ones, or is that just like a highlight?
Those are... That's the full list,
Okay.
according to GameSpot.
This is the first Xbox games finally coming to Xbox
Yeah.
One.
So, did you ever play Black?
No.
I just remember that being the first game that you could, like, shoot through doors and walls with.
Yeah.
Like, that was, like, their big thing.
I remember seeing stuff for it.
Yeah.
Way
but
back in the day.
I played Knights of the Republic 2 on Xbox. I still have it from my original Xbox.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So-
It's a cool thing. I don't know how many people are really clamoring for it or waiting for that feature.
There's some people excited to play, like, KOTOR again.
It'd be nice to be able to just pop that in and play it as is with everything else. Sure, the graphics aren't super. I mean, they're up rendering a bunch of stuff, and that's all great and stuff. And it's gonna look like crap, but it's gonna look less like crap than it did 6 months.
Yeah, you can play games from 2006 on a console from 2015. 14. Or if you bought a Pro or you're waiting on an X.
If you wait on an X to play your original Xbox games, you may be doing something wrong.
You have a problem.
I'm just saying.
Coming out tomorrow, Friday, October 27th. Some big hitters. Assassin's Creed Origins on PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Boo!
Big one.
Suck.
Actually, I've heard really good things about it.
I think it's gonna suck.
I actually might get it.
Oh
Well, yeah, because they took time on this one. It wasn't a yearly release.
That's
they
true.
were 2
They
years
took a
on
little
this
time off.
one.
We'll see. I want to see.
All the impressions have been good on it. So I want to see reviews and stuff.
I want to see it actually be different than the last 85 Assassin's Creed games. And I don't think it will be at the end of the day. I think it'll be the same formula, just in a different era with different. The only reason they had to add an extra year is because they had to make a whole bunch of new assets. Yeah. I'm worried it's gonna be the same thing, and we'll see. But I am not holding out hope for Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm sorry, guys.
We will see. Little Nightmares comes to consoles, PS4 and Xbox One. I've seen some of our friends playing this.
That one looked creepy.
It did. It looked kind of like fascinating. It's a little bit of a puzzler, kind of platformer.
Yeah, because this is on PC, right?
Like if Tim Burton made a platformer, essentially.
Yeah.
Super Mario Odyssey comes to Switch. We will be playing this tomorrow. I guarantee it.
Indeed. I am very excited. I hope I'm still able to find a way to work on Friday. This is going to be very hard. There's no trials this weekend with Destiny.
So that works out.
That's
the thing we didn't talk about. There's no trials this week or next.
That's true. We can find time to raid Friday night so we can take a break from Super Mario Odyssey. But I'll be working all day.
I won't be. I'll be getting in town early, and then actually I do have to work on Friday.
But hey, James! Spoiler alert: Super Mario Odyssey sucks. Don't play it. Wink.
Beat the whole thing. Be like, I got trophy.
I got my platinum trophy.
Nothing. Oh. I got satisfaction. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus comes to PS4, Xbox One, and PC on Friday as well.
What do you mean? It doesn't come to the Switch at the same time?
No, it'll come out in like 10 years on the Switch.
Actually, it's come out in January on the Switch.
I just like to think that they're going to do the Skyrim treatment to Wolfenstein. So.
To be fair, like, by the time it comes out, man, I may not want to get it on my PlayStation 4. What if I, January? By the time I have the money and the time for Wolfenstein 2, I might just
get on the go.
Might just get on the Switch.
Yeah, we'll see. I just don't know if the Switch, because the Switch has been doing some of these games, but everything I've heard is like FIFA and 2K are just like a little bit watered down.
A little bit.
It's just like for Wolfenstein, like
it's the same experience.
I don't want. Well, maybe.
I mean, it's gonna lesser
take
resolution
some power.
frame rate, but we'll see. Dooms comes out Doom comes out in a couple weeks on Switch. I want to see how that performs. I want to see how that does. If I feel pretty comfortable with that, I might just get Wolfenstein 2 on Switch.
Yeah.
Like, give me something else to play on the Switch while... Yeah, I don't know.
But you can't platinum it on the Switch, James.
Yeah, that's true. But I like to support stuff on the Switch because I wanted... I want
Do
the
want more
platform
things
to do
come
well.
to come with Switch.
So,
Mainly we want a virtual console. Also, a fun thing comes out Friday that'll keep you from working. Stranger Things Season 2.
gosh, I don't know how I'm going to get through this weekend without, like, exploding. I might have to send my... My wife's going on a conference next weekend. Or next week. Like, we're going out of town for... Oh...
Yeah, you're out of town this weekend.
I'm definitely picking up Super Mario Odyssey Thursday night then. So she's going out of town. Like Sunday, she's flying, and we're out of town Friday, Saturday. I come back Sunday morning, and then she's gone until like Wednesday night. So I'll have some time to like. I tried to convince her to start Stranger Things, and she's like, "Let's get through." We're finishing up Once Upon a Time in season 6 on Netflix right now. So once we get through that, she has agreed to at least try Stranger Things. So I'm holding out hope, but I'm not waiting for her for season 2 because I have run out of my show on Netflix. I finished the 100, and I need something to watch, and I'm not waiting another week.
Yep.
Two.
I thought about rewatching season 1.
Yeah, I need to, but I'd like to be able to sleep at night, so I might not.
Yeah,
It's kind of creepy.
it's such a good show though.
It is good. It's only 8 episodes. It's not a super long
Yeah,
commitment.
I did watch it all in like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was 8 episodes until I got to episode 8 on day 3,
Yep.
and realized I was hallucinating almost. So I took a break.
Forgot to stop. And speaking of not stopping, every week we round out the show with going over the drop. If you don't know what the drop is a weekly release of PlayStation games brought to us by on the PlayStation blog by one Ryan Clements at Womsider on Twitter. Just like to pimp that. He's a lot of work over here.
I just, like, whenever you say that, like, I get it, but I don't know how you're spelling that Twitter handle.
Womsider?
Like, P-W-A-M?
P-W-A-M.
Okay.
I'm just like P-W-A-M.
I hear it and I'm like, man, how would you spell that?
Yeah, P-W-A-M-C-I-D-E-R. Plum cider.
Exactly how it sounds.
Yeah.
I legitimately couldn't tell if you're saying plum or plum.
Yeah, Plum. www.
Plum.
.twitter.com/plum cider.
Right.
I don't know if that's the Twitter URLs work.
No, that's right. That's how it works. You're good.
/U.
It's not. You don't have like a /U or /R for like Reddit. So.
/C for channel.
All right. So what do we got? Week of October 24th. That's this week. Air Memories of Old. That looks stupid and blocky.
We got a couple heavy hitters coming up here, James. Deer Hunter Reloaded. Deer Hunter is back. You'll be tracking and hunting various trophy big game animals such as whitetail mules, Sitka deer, bighorn and Dall sheep, caribou, elk, and much more. How many four-legged antlered animals are there to catch, James?
Boy,
what about something maybe in the water?
That was basically all the kinds of deer you can have. I would love to see how many more kinds of animals you have. That's
I was trying to like set you up for the next one.
Oh, look at that. Not only do we have Deer Hunter, but we've got Fishing Master.
But how do you play Fishing Master, James?
PlayStation VR, of
Yeah,
course.
you do.
It's the only way to do it. Experience the thrill of fishing at home. No. There's no thrill in fishing. There's even less thrill at home.
I don't go fishing to get thrilled. I go fishing to relax.
Relax. Hey, you spend a couple hours out there. You just
Spend a couple hours
chill.
not catching anything. Hidden Agenda, blending the best elements of movies and games, this story-based adventure drops you into a tale rife with chilling moral dilemmas. Sounds like Heavy Rain, but not as good.
Yeah, that's
Like a poor man's Heavy Rain.
I
Maybe
don't
I'm
feel
wrong
good
with
about
that.
that. The Inner World, The Last Wind Monk, solve mind-bending puzzles in a world of mystery, save the family of the flute noses. He's actually playing like a flute on his nose.
Yeah, he is.
That kid may not deserve it.
What is this?
Just Dance.
No.
Oh, there's more than 40 tracks at launch with Just Dance 2018.
Oh man, that's so exciting! I
Play
can't
for-
wait to not play it.
Couple hours.
Knowledge is power, which is just a trivia
What is it?
game.
That looks like that trivia game with the annoying guy with the microphone, with the big old hair, look like Jimmy Neutron.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what the name is of it.
My buddy that I stayed with for a few weeks had a ton of them that he bought because he thought they would like do really well in the resale market, and they did not. It was like before the Jackbox party games.
Yeah.
Before that. But anyways.
Trivial Pursuit?
No, I don't think so. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I would have to see it. It would look really weird.
There's
and
the Mummy
bombastic.
Demastered, if trivia is not your thing.
No way.
Demastered. Powerful ancient evil has arisen, and the war to save humanity has begun. The Mummy Demastered throws you into a 16-bit inspired battle against the undead in a 2D, non-linear, action-packed adventure.
They have a 2D non-linear game.
Especially a relatively descriptive description.
That is, but like 2D.
I feel like I know exactly what's happening in that game.
Okay.
Like Link to the Past.
I'm gonna point out a 2D non-linear. It's a side scroller. You scroll side to side. I'm looking at the shots for it. So I guess you can go. It looks like you can go up or over, just like Shovel Knight.
Metroid
kind of style, or Metroid.
Speaking of Metroid, Nightmare Boy. Nightmare Boy is a Metroidvania action-adventure 2D game that takes place in your worst nightmare.
Oh no!
Tax season. No, I'm just kidding. That part's not in there. In your quest to save Noctum from its self-proclaimed ruler, you'll meet weird and unique friends and foes. It had a strong intro, but it had a very, very poor ending.
Unique friends and foes! Should have had an exclamation point. That would have fixed everything.
Boy, is Knights of Azure just putting out games every day? I feel like I see that title. We never read them. We generally skip over the Japanese titles.
Yeah.
Because I think you and I just know that that's not our scene.
Yep. It's fair. Numantia. Units, heroes, and battles inspired in real events. That's not a sentence. Deep narrative linked to the historical evolution of the conflict. 2 different campaigns with their own heroes, troops, settlements, and armies. Those are just fragments of sentences. It's like a 6-year-old wrote
Poorly
that.
translated sentence.
Really poorly.
Good news, James. If you don't want to fish in VR, Rapala Fishing Pro Series is out PS4 digital and retail 2 yesterdays ago or something. I was going to say today because we're recording it on Tuesday.
This is 24th.
We are not. Yep. Complete in-world tournaments, daily challenges, all to improve your skills by earning bonus money and climb the ranks. Become a professional angler for the #1 fishing brand
Boy,
in
you're really
the
having
world.
trouble selling that. Well, if fishing isn't your thing, if you want some live action sports, how about Rugby 18? Live the intensity of the greatest matches with Rugby 18, the most complete rugby game to date. Yeah.
Just Dance isn't your thing. Sing Star Celebration is out.
Oh, it's that PlayLink stuff.
Yeah.
The PlayLink you can play with your smartphones if you've never seen these
Like
before.
Jackbox, but
It's like Jackbox, but much more limited.
Slay Away Camp.
Yeah, so
Butcher's Cut. Killer puzzle game where you control Skullface, a psychotic slasher hell-bent on revenge. Slide this adorably demented character around hundreds of isometric puzzle levels, squash, flay, and decapitate hapless victims in this dark comic homage to 80s horror movies. That just sounds kind of interesting.
Stunt Kite Masters VR.
Oh my freaking goodness. Sorry, I'm like scrolling through the list. Like, We Sing Pop. Like, another singing game out here. Wolfenstein 2 we already covered.
Well, Just Dance is a dance game. SingStar is the singing game. So
yeah,
it's
but
the
these are
second
like rhythm games.
That's true.
Essentially.
That's you. Get hilariously personal in an audacious quiz with up to 5 of your family and friends. Find out what you really think about each other.
Whatever.
Or you can just have a conversation. Just saying. Wolfenstein 2. That one I'm excited about. Just not right now.
Yomawari Midnight Shadows. This follow-up to 2016's cult hit Yomawari Night Alone. Yomawari Midnight Shadows introduces 2 brand new girls, Yui and Haru, into the night and the spirits who haunt it.
Weird. Thor Ragnarok, the original motion picture soundtrack, is out on PlayStation Music.
Oh boy.
That movie drops November 3rd. It's coming up
Nice.
pretty quick. I'm really excited. Maybe a couple weeks.
Walking Dead Season 8 is out. Atomic Blonde is out. I never saw it, but I kind of wanted to.
Yeah, Walking Dead season just started on Monday night. So that's exciting stuff if you watch Walking. I haven't watched
It
in a
had
couple
the
seasons, so.
lowest opening since season 3.
Well, I mean, it's just there's so much non-zombie focus on it now. It's
Well, yeah.
just,
Well,
nobody
also
cares anymore.
the counterpoint to that I heard is that people are just waiting for it to come out and then just binging it. It was like, I don't need to watch it open night. I will binge it later.
Yeah, it's a very good binging show. It's such a slow moving movie. Atomic Blonde was pretty good. Cars 3 I heard was not as bad as Cars 2.
Which is not exactly a high bar.
No, but at least they passed it. So
yeah. They got better. You know, like trilogies do.
Exactly.
Speaking of trilogies, this is gonna wrap up our podcast this week.
Really? That's what you got?
Oh, all right. Here. That's just it's how trilogies do.
Speaking of better than average movies, that's gonna wrap up our podcast today.
That wasn't any better than speaking of trilogies. It still is like a non sequitur into the end of the show, which is happening right now, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. And if you like what you saw, comment below. Let us know. Share it with your friends. Thanks for subscribing and listening and watching and doing all those wonderful things you do. We'll see you next time.
Bye.